everybody, it's me, Shala360, and I have here a box that I have been waiting a really long time to receive. Well, I shouldn't say a really long time, but it's an order that I placed. I feel like it's been at least 2 months ago that I placed this order, so yeah, it feels like it's been forever. But this is my Weverse order of BTS's new album, B. And because I was waiting for this order, that's the reason why I didn't do a Target shop. Normally, I do like to try to support K-pop in Target, but because I knew I had these albums coming, I decided to wait until they came in the mail instead of spending the extra $50. Hey, Lixbricks. So yeah, it came in kind of rough condition. I'm not gonna lie to you, like the tape is broken on the side. I didn't cut that. That's just like that. So hopefully there's no damage inside the album. I've had some issues with packaging when it comes to some of the things I've ordered for BTS. I'm not gonna say big hit because I ordered vinyls from the Orchard for BTS. I ordered the Dynamite vinyl from the Orchard, and then I ordered this from Weverse. So both of them were big hit products, but again, it's just shipping wise, sometimes I've had some issues. Like when I ordered the vinyl from the Orchard, it came with absolutely no protection, which was super scary, and I was worried that things would be damaged. It wasn't damaged, but it was also really poor printing, so I don't know, best of both worlds. This is what the packaging looks like inside of my box. So not the greatest. There's like only one layer of bubble wrap. It's like a bubble wrap envelope. And I would usually expect a little bit more for albums that cost the way that these albums cost. These were not cheap at all. It doesn't come with a packing slip either. There's no packing slip in here, which is surprising. So these are the album here. There you go. And I got two, and I want to talk about that. Why I have two. Because this album, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, there's only one version of this album. So I want to talk about that. Now, I am not always keen on the finer details of things. Like I'm prone to miss small stuff, but I have pretty decent reading comprehension, and I'm usually able to infer the meaning of things even when I don't really understand the specific definition of a word. And when I ordered this CD, I remember ordering it the minute it came available for pre-order. Like I went to the Weverse shop the minute you could pre-order it, and I pre-ordered 2 copies. And I did it because the night that the pre-order was announced, it was daytime in Korea, but it was nighttime in America. The night it was announced, I remember everyone on my timeline was like, oh my gosh, they've announced the pre-order. It's a deluxe edition. And if you are familiar with School Love Affair and its run of being out of print, everybody was afraid because it was announced as a deluxe edition that this album was going to go out of print as well. So we were all like, we got to order it now. Not only that, but I got 2 because the initial sketch of what was going to be available for this album was Concept 1, Concept 2. At that time, we didn't have any pictures of the interior of this album. We had no concept photos at all. We had a description of items, but it didn't even it didn't say on the concept photo or the packaging rundown, it didn't even say how many versions. It didn't say anything at all. It didn't say 1 version, 2 versions, didn't say anything. But because it said Concept 1 and Concept 2, and both of the concepts were a different color, me and a lot of other people thought, okay, there's 2 versions, and I need to order them now. We did not know what they were going to look like, and so we went ahead and we did it. And it took several weeks later, number 1, to confirm that there was only going to be 1 version. So even though this is called deluxe, it actually is just the only version. And also the fact that this album, it doesn't have two concepts, like two versions. It's just one. So there's no deluxe and regular from what I can tell, from what I've seen, and there's no concept one, concept two separate packagings. It's just this. Had I known it was going to be just this and that this exact album was going to be available at Target and I didn't need to be in a rush to get it, I can promise you I would have never pre ordered it. And as it stands, I kind of feel like I don't want to pre order any more albums from Big Hit or from the Weaver Shop because if it's just going to be at Target, it seems like it would be a better use of my money to buy it at Target because then I'm supporting the artist still, just like I'm doing now, but also it makes it to where I'm also encouraging Target to continue to stock these albums rather than buying them from Big Hit and then not ever making a Target purchase. So I'm just disappointed that like there isn't, and there weren't even any freebies, by the way. I don't know if you noticed when I took my albums out of this. I bought these at the Weaver Shop. I pre-ordered them, like I said, the day that they came out. There was no pre-order benefit for this, no special photo card, no nothing. Nothing. Not only that, my album shipped the day after it was available at Target. It was available at Target. I went to the Weaver Shop to check to see the status of my order. My order had not even been shipped yet. So that's the reason why I'm coming to you Wednesday after the album was released on Friday to show you the albums because that's how long it took for me to get it. And my albums were sent via FedEx. So I'll never be mad at BTS for this kind of stuff because a lot of this I know is out of their control. But it's just very frustrating as a fan to pay a premium for things, thinking you're getting one thing, and then finding out that that's not what it is. And this album cost more on the Weaver Shop than it would have for me to buy it at Target. This album was $47.99 at Target, I think, either $47.99 or $49.99. On the Weaver Shop, it was like $50 and some change, but I had to pay $14.99 for shipping for this. If I bought it at my Target, I wouldn't have had to pay any shipping at all. So in a lot of ways, I feel very much like I overpaid for this. But now that I've kind of put all that aside, let me tell you about this album. So already off the bat, I'm really, really scared of this album because the material feels like paper stock or card stock. It's a matte finish, a very dry, textured matte finish that feels like it will get dirty very quickly on your shelf if you're not very careful about how you store it. So really be very, very careful about how you store this. I would recommend getting maybe a magazine cellophane cover and putting that over this because I can tell like this baby is going to get damaged really easy if you're not careful. Just rubbing against your shelves, rubbing against other things on your shelf, it's going to be a real hazard. Also, it's got some pretty sharp corners, like really very, very sharp corners. So you want to be careful about shelf damage with these sharp corners. So I definitely recommend wrapping this up in cellophane or clear wrap or something to try to preserve the color and try to preserve all these really sharp corners. So this is the spine. Then the back, this is all the copyright information. And then on the front, you've got B, and then you've got an embossed saying on here, which you can't hardly see at all. Like I'm looking at it and it's nighttime, so of course I've got artificial light. It says life goes on like an arrow in the forest. Is that what that says? I can't read it. I can't read it. Like I wish I kind of want to take a crayon and color on this so I can see it. I can't read it. I can't read it. So probably in the daytime it's really cool, but right now it's not. It's got a magnetic closure right here, so I got to be careful with that. I just bent this right now, and it made kind of a little bit of a sound. It had me nervous. So you've got kind of a magnetic box closure. The first BTS album I ever bought that had an packaging similar to this was Dark and Wild. Dark and Wild had packaging very, very similar to this. School Love Affair, the regular edition, also had a magnetic closure, but it didn't have kind of a box setup where everything was set inside. So that's kind of reminiscent for me. Okay, and so you get the black version of what was on the cover. A lot of people have done unboxings. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just felt like I should. And the cover of the photo book feels like the same paper that's on the outside of the packaging. So that's interesting. It's nice continuity across. And then moving forward from there, you have this booklet right here, which I think this is the making book. Yeah, this is the making book. So it's got like all the little handwritten notes and things. And then it's got an area for you to write on, which this also is very reminiscent. So that it's funny because I'm remembering different BTS albums that I've bought over the years. This reminds me of the first half of Greatest Moments in Life, because when I got the first two albums for Greatest Moments in Life, because there were two versions of that one, they had these blank pages for you to write on. And I remember me and everybody else who collects was like, who is writing in their album? We don't do that. Nobody wants to do that. So when they did the second half, they didn't have the writing pages. But yeah, there were blank writing pages in that other one. So the look of this type of thing, and then the pages, it reminds me very much of the first half of Greatest Moments in Life. All of my stuff is in shambles in here. Everything is just all over the place in here right now. From what I understood, you get photo cards of everybody in this album. So trading, there isn't really a trade market for this album because everybody gets their bias no matter who you are. And then there's this thing, which is where the CD plate is. But then it's also, I guess, a picture frame of sorts. So when you fold it this way, it's a picture frame if you wanted to put that on your shelf, which is cool because apparently some people don't actually play their CDs at all. They buy the album, but they never play the CDs, which if that's the case, they need to start putting USBs in here if it doesn't really matter about the music. And then these are the postcards that you can put inside the frame. I think it was a stylistic choice to decide to put non-portrait pictures here instead of portraited pictures of the members. But you know what? If it's something where maybe you're a BTS fan, but you want to be on incognito mode at work, then you could take this, put just a random nature photo in there, and then people would not know that, oh yeah, that's her telling us she's a BTS fan. Instead, they'd be like, oh, nice little piece of, decorative artwork with like a little inspiring saying. In fact, oh my gosh, okay, you tell me if this reminds you of that. I'm going to try to find, let's go with this picture. And there's like a little slot right here where you can put in your photo. Okay, so this is what it would look like if you had it sitting on a shelf somewhere. It says Life Goes On, and it's a picture of a broken mirror. Just little things like Life Goes On. This reminds me of when you go to like a dentist office or a doctor's office and they have those black posters that have like pictures in the middle and then it has like some inspiring quote on the bottom. That's what this reminds me of. Does this remind anybody else of that? I mean, it just won't stay. It just won't stay. That is a drawback. That is something that could be fixed. But yeah, this totally reminds me of those kind of inspirational black outline posters that they sell every freaking where. And I always see them in like a dentist office or a doctor's office. I never see it anywhere else. Well, sometimes you might see it in like a regular office, but it's mostly offices. I don't think most people have those things at home, but it'll be like, a picture of a mountain range, and then underneath it, like, the highest hill you climb is not the one in front of you, but the one inside of you yourself. Something like that. But that's what that reminds me of. That is so funny. Okay, and then the last things we have in here are two posters. So we've got this, which is a lyrics poster, which, let's talk about that. Does anybody hang up their lyrics poster? I'm not saying that to be like rude to anybody or be like, oh, that's a bad idea. I really literally mean it. If you have a lyrics poster that didn't have a photograph on it, would you hang it up? I mean, if the lyrics poster has a picture, that's cool, but, you know, would you just hang up this side? So I'm glad that they put a picture on there because that makes it to where it does make sense for somebody to want to hang it. But outside of that, I don't think anybody would really hang a lyrics poster, so maybe let's not do those anymore. Let's not do lyrics posters anymore. Just saying. And then it comes with a full group poster here, and it looks like it's not double-sided. This paper for this poster feels very strange. I don't know how to describe how it feels. It smells really strongly of chemical. So this is the poster, which looks like the fake Polaroid. It has a very similar look. But yeah, this is the poster that comes with it as well. So you get two posters essentially. But yeah, the texture on this, okay, so the photo is really grainy. I don't know if you can see, it's grainy on purpose. It's not my camera, it's the poster. The poster is super grainy, which I like the graininess with the lyrics poster. I'm not as big a fan of the graininess here because you're going to hang it up on your wall and you kind of wish it would be a little bit sharper. But the grainy photos, again, they remind me of Young Forever. If you have the Young Forever box set, you remember that the photo book was full of grainy photographs. So it's very interesting how like little bits and pieces of other releases are coming through here. So that's funny. I wonder if that picture, the photo card, would stay if I put all of them in here. I'm going to try that. Maybe that'll make it stay because it's not staying on its own. I'm frustrated about that. Well, no, they don't all fit in there, so that's not an option either. What do I have to do to get you to stay put? Why do you want to be mean to me? Okay, I got them fitting in there. So I put all of the postcards in here. That way it would stay put. All right, and we saw this already. Now let's look at all these inclusions. So you have the survey card. So there you go. And then you have this, which is kind of a fake Polaroid, if you will. It has a very similar setup to the poster that we have. In fact, it's literally the same setting and everything. It's just that the order of members is a little bit different. So that's the only thing I can see that's different, is that like everybody's in different places. But that's that. There's a lot of photo cards here. This feels like more than 7. So everyone's already shown you the photo cards, but it's everybody kind of lounging on their respective couches. Yeah, everybody's lounging on their respective couches. I'm not going to get close to the camera because, like I said, there's been so many unboxings of this, it's not even funny. But, okay, again, this doesn't match, but it's the way I feel. Having them lounging on these couches kind of reminds me of the Pink concepts from Persona, the Persona album. Don't know why. It just makes me feel very similar to that, even though they're very different, but it just feels the same. Another picture that's very similar to the poster and to the Polaroid, and then my last couch picture. So yeah, you get everybody's postcard in this one. The postcards feel really weird. Okay, I know for a fact that these are genuine postcards because I literally just opened this. I just opened this album right now, so I know these photo cards are real. But the texture on it, it's got kind of a matte finish to it, and it's really, really small, and there's nothing on the back. It looks like the freebie postcards you get when you go to K-Town for You or one of these other websites that sends you promo cards. It has that feel. They almost feel fake. Like, I know that they're not, because like I'm literally just opening this album, so they can't be fake. Why would somebody put fake photo cards in an album? But the quality of the photo card is not glossy. It's completely matte. It does not feel like any other BTS photo card I've ever got. And I've gotten some Japanese stuff that felt fake. The photo card for School Love Affair Special Edition is super weird feeling. This feels like you can go on eBay sometimes and buy like a pack of 20 Lomo cards. That's what they call them, Lomo, Lomo. You can buy a pack of 20 Lomo cards. This has the same feeling as Lomo cards, which is really bizarre to me. I'm not used to that at all. I mean, it matches the fact that the entire package is matte, but it's still a really weird thing to note. Okay, and then this is the photo book, which has every individual member's room and concept for their room in it. It's really pretty. It's really nice. I'm not a big fan of all these blank pages, but I'm just going to assume that Big Hit is using the YG reasoning, saying that we have to put all of this empty space because if you ever end up in a fan signing, you'll want to have space to get their signature. But this was also released during COVID and nobody's doing any fan signs anymore. So, yeah. And I almost forgot. There's two concepts here. So there's this concept, which is the individual rooms concept, and then kind of like cameras for everybody in their individual rooms, almost like they're documenting themselves in mirrors. And then there's this black concept, which is them in the alley behind some place that they're at. It says London. So I guess they're in London in an alley taking pictures of themselves. That's what this looks like to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. It looks like they're in an alley taking pictures of themselves, which is cool. Oh, this one, they're outside. That's nice. Wasn't this during a Run BTS? Wasn't this scene right here during an episode of Run BTS? I don't know. I don't watch Run, so that's why I don't know. Every once in a while I see still photos, but I don't watch. Yeah, okay. So that is the photo book here. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this. I like the idea of doing something different with your photo book. That's really cool that you're trying something new. This isn't the first time I've seen double photo books in an album though, so like it's something new for them, but it's not something new for K-pop. But this is the thing that I don't like, because I didn't like it on NCT's album and I don't like it with BTS either. In order to do the double photo books, they had to leave the binding exposed on this photo book. That's going to be a problem for people who collect, because over time that glue's going to dry up and these pages are going to start falling out. Like literally they're just going to start flaking off. And I'm not saying that as somebody who's making a wild guess. I'm saying that as somebody who's owned albums who do this. This album's going to fall apart. So I'm just warning you ahead of time. If you haven't opened your album yet and you're waiting to open it and you're trying to be really careful and kid gloves, don't flip through this thing super hard. Actually, just don't even open it very often, because it's going to fall apart. But this is a question I have, Big Hit, and you're going to have to answer this for me. Why is one photo book bound, as you can see, like it goes all the way around. It's all the way encapsulated. But the dark concept is just straight up exposed glue baby. Why? Why did they do that? Why wouldn't they put a black kind of cover right here? That way they're two fully encapsulated photo books, and then mesh them together to this kind of outer piece of paper that joins them. That's a manufacturing nicety that costs a little bit more money. It's doing a little bit more at the manufacturer, but this is also a $50 album. A $50 album, you can do a little bit more. You can put a little more care in it. You can take a little bit more time. So I don't agree that because of high production cost, they couldn't put individual binding on both concepts, because this may have high production cost, but it also is a very expensive album. So Silgy Love is saying, I heard the dark concept is supposed to be removed and are like mini posters and postcards. Okay, show of hands in the chat. Who here plans to tear apart their dark concept so that they can flip through it like postcards, or so that they can post mini posters on their wall? Just a show of hands. You don't have to say anything else. Just, would you do it? Lixbrick says no one wants that. Simply Forever says no. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it personally. I've seen Lovely Twin Twin says no. I've seen a lot of concepts over the years where people expected you to tear things apart. I've seen albums that had stickers on the outside that you're supposed to break the seal in order to get into an album. I've seen cutouts that you're supposed to punch out in albums. I've seen stickers that people expect you to use to stick on things. SHINee has a season's greeting. It's the last season's greetings with Jonghyun, and it's got these calendar pages, and the photo card is a punch out in the middle of the calendar page that you're supposed to punch out if you want to collect the photo card. When you pay $30, $40, $50 for something, you're not going to want to tear it up. And I don't know if this is something where maybe because Big Hit makes so much money off of BTS that they feel like the fans have money to throw away. But there are people who bought this album that saved for this album, that they found out a month ago that this album was going to be $50, and they've been saving their money from their part-time gig, or maybe their family's been affected by COVID and they don't have the finances that they used to have. They might have lost their job, and so they scrimped up for this. And a person who saved their money and scrimped for this is not going to tear up anything. They're going to treasure this album. They're going to treat it with kid gloves because they don't know when they'll be able to buy a replacement if anything happens to this. So it kind of almost speaks from a standpoint of like extreme privilege to believe that somebody's going to pay $50 and then just rip an album apart. That's there certainly are people who could do that. There absolutely are people who could do that. But there's a lot of people where $50, myself included, represents a ton of money. And they're just not going to pay that and then have it fall apart. And they're going to be very disappointed when a year from now the glue dries up and their album starts just falling apart on its own. They're not going to like that. So yeah, again, my criticism is never to the guys. The criticism is to Big Hit and the people who conceptualize packaging, because this is not a brand new game. This is a game that's been going on for a while. I mean, K-pop packaging has been a thing that people have been talking about all of second gen and riding into third gen. You know, and packaging has been wild. If you look at some of Hyena's early albums, especially like the Melting album, packaging gets crazy. Packaging can get really, really crazy. So this is not the first rodeo for anybody when it comes to K-pop packaging, mass production, schematics, logistics, all that stuff. Everyone's had to go at it. They know how this goes. But also, if they didn't understand what the fans wanted, YouTube is right here. They don't have to watch my videos. They'll never find me anyway. But there's so many unboxers who unbox albums. Take a Tina Davidson, who is an archivist herself, who unbox albums and they show you, this is what doesn't work. This is how my album fell apart. This is the misprinting. This is this. This is that. There's so many people who can offer that kind of input. If Big Hit's marketing team themselves didn't understand that somebody on the team should have been familiar enough with low class to be like, hey, not everybody can pay this. It is also COVID. Maybe we should try to make this something more substantial instead of these tearaway pages. Also, you know, I get the concept of the album. I get that the album is supposed to be an an album to comfort people in the midst of COVID, kind of to express the way that everybody's feeling, but also offer, kind of a space for understanding and maybe to uplift some spirits. But it is a very bold move in the midst of COVID and kind of the devastation that it's rung on many people economically, to then put out a $50 album with no like $20 alternative. It's very, it feels like it misses the mark. And you can't say, oh, well, this album was conceived before COVID. No, no, no. This album was conceived after COVID. Like, they may have been anticipating making an album like this, but in terms of like when this thing went to press, it was well after COVID had begun. And so with second wave hitting and people trying to recontain, Korea's still having issues. They're not having issues like America is, but they're still having issues. It kind of feels a little tone deaf to then put out an album that's $50. Now, on the one hand, it is a little bit pocket friendlier for the collectors who usually get every version, because you're paying $50 for one version when normally you would pay $20 per version for four. Put that all together, that's $80. So normally you'd spend $80. They're like, just give me 30 less and you're good to go. And here's all the photo cards too, so you don't have to buy multiple copies. All the photo cards are in what you got. But the thing about a $20 price point is that a $20 album makes it accessible to somebody who can't come up with $50. So, yes, if you're looking at this from the standpoint of that collector who buys every single version of every single album, they're saving money in the long run. But if you're talking about somebody who just getting one copy is a huge deal, this is a steep increase in their cost to entry. And this is the second $50 album that BTS, their label, has put out this year. This is the second, because they put out the reprint of School Love Affair. So this is a $50 album. School Love Affair is a $50 album. That's $100 between the two. That's a lot of money. So I really wish that this album had been released during a time when it was a little bit friendlier for people to be able to spend that kind of money in one gasp. But maybe what they're anticipating is that a ton of people will be buying this $50 album as a Christmas present to a loved one, a young fan, and that it'll be justified. It'll be seen as like a really big gift because mom and dad, or just mom maybe, spent $50 to get you this album. Like, the timing makes it to where this is like Christmas gift status. But it still feels like it's a lot of money. It still feels like it's a lot of money. So UL says, the idea is kind of fun, but the execution is bad. They don't understand that most people hate having damage to their albums to use it. Hate having to damage their albums to use it. And then Simply Forever says, do you think this will be the going price for their next albums? I don't know. I would love to say I could predict what BTS and Big Hit have up their sleeve, but I don't know. I hope that they go back to the $20 album, even though honestly the days of the $20 album are gone. The last album I bought for BTS, I think it was $25. I bought the Map of the Soul 7. And I want to say each version was $25.99 at Target. So if you bought all four, you were spending $104 before tax. So even the $20 album doesn't really exist anymore. You can sometimes get it on sale for $19.99, but just like a flat $20 album, that's just kind of not in the cards for BTS anymore. Blackpink's album was $20, but that's probably going to increase with their next one. So I don't expect BTS albums to be under $30 anymore. I think that's kind of where they're headed, is $29.99 territory is where they're going to be in the future. But if anybody watching me has not bought their album, please let me know in the live chat. I just want to know, have you bought your album yet or have you not bought it? because if you live in the States, I might know of a deal for you. So just let me know. Have you bought it? Have you not bought it? Do you know if you're going to get it? Let me know. My hands are so dry right now. It's crazy. I want to put on lotion, but I knew I was going to be unboxing this and I didn't want to put lotion on my hands because I didn't want to get like lotion stains on the packaging. But my hands are so dry. They feel awful. They feel like paper. And I think that's why I can feel all the texture of the album. So it looks like nobody is chatting. So I'm assuming everybody got their album already. Well, if you haven't gotten your album yet and you're thinking about getting it, and maybe you're thinking about ordering NCT's album as well, today, tomorrow, Target has got their buy two get one free sale going again. And this is an excellent time to get this album with a group of friends. So if you have, I understand. Norway, Canada. Well, this is a special for the United States, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd totally tell you to dig in. Because the Target here in the United States, they're doing their buy two, get one free sales. So you can buy two albums and get one for free. So if you had, like you and a couple of friends wanted to get this album, if you all were to go in on it, it would normally be $150 for three albums. Instead, you'd be looking at $100 for three albums. So when you divide that up, it's less than $40 per person. So it's an amazing deal. If anybody hasn't bought their album yet and they're thinking about getting it, it's today and tomorrow. Actually, you know what? It's not even today and tomorrow because today is Wednesday. So it's today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So really, really great deal. So something to consider. I order albums from a lot of different places. That's something I also wanted to make sure I talked about. And if I had to review how I felt about the Weverse shop versus the other places I buy albums, I'm not impressed with the Weverse shop. I'm not impressed that the only bubble wrap that was in my album was this bubble wrap envelope. I'm not impressed that I had to pay the most money at the Weverse shop, more than I would pay for any other website, more than Sub K, more than K Town for You, more than K-Pop Town, more than K-Pop Mart, more than anybody. I would never have to pay that kind of money on any of the other places. Music Plaza, Choice Music, this was the highest. And then also it had the highest shipping. And the reason why that's really frustrating to me is because there's like 3 different Weverse shops. There's the US Weverse shop, there's the global Weverse shop, and I think there's like a Korean specific Weverse shop. And this album was super expensive if you go for Weverse, but then to put $14.99 shipping on it. Getting it from the Weverse US shop, which is where I got mine, meaning that these albums are specifically for US print. That's why they don't have the Comca stickers on the back, because it's specifically for US print. So they're probably printed either in the US or they've all been sent to the US for distribution. It feels like you're being punished by having to pay $15 to ship an album to you, that if you ordered it on Choice Music, you would probably pay less than $10 to get it shipped to you. And you would still pay less for the album. So it almost feels like, at the very minimum, the Weverse shop should have had a special pre-order benefit to go with this album to justify why you're paying a little bit more at the Weverse shop. And I'm not saying it has to be something outrageous. It could have been a limited edition postcard. Postcards are super cheap. It's literally printed paper. But I think if the Weverse shop would put like a limited edition postcard for ordering it through the Weverse shop, or if you get like a code for a digital download if you order it from the Weverse shop, or if you get, I don't know, like anything else to add on to this would make more sense. It seems punitive in a way. It almost seems like you're getting punished for being a US fan because you're paying more than any other shop would sell it to you if you buy it from Weverse, and you're paying $15 shipping. So, I mean, I don't know if they like have like a kickback deal with FedEx and that's what the deal is, but it shouldn't have taken me till today to get this album that I pre-ordered what feels to be 2 months ago. I mean, it's been so long since I pre-ordered this album. But yeah, it just feels wrong that I ordered this album so long ago. I paid so much for this album. I paid so much for shipping, and it just came with nothing. It came in this bubble wrapped envelope. It didn't come with anything else. Not a single thing. I'm not hiding anything from you. There's nothing else. I even showed you the inside of the box. There's nothing else. And so I don't think I'm ever going to order anything else from the Weverse shop. Yeah. I not unless I get in on a group order with somebody and we can kind of split that shipping in half maybe, but like yeah, I don't think I'm going to order anything else from the Weverse shop. And I don't know that in the future I'm going to trust the marketing engine from Big Hit cuz like I said at the beginning of this, I feel like they kind of alluded to the fact that there might be two versions because they called this deluxe edition in parentheses. They didn't say the B album, they said deluxe edition, which I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but most of the time, if someone says that this is a deluxe edition, it means that there's another edition that's not deluxe. So I feel a little misled by the marketing team, and it's not a good look, and it's going to make me really learn some patience and start learning to wait until these things end up in Target. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I know this was a longer video, and it was a little bit dry, but I wanted to have a serious conversation and I wasn't trying to offend anybody because I don't feel like I'm saying anything offensive. I'm just telling you the truth as somebody with a lot of experience buying things. I still enjoy the group a lot. I still enjoy this album quite a bit. Disease is the best song on the album, by the way, just in case y'all were wondering. But I'm not in the mood to be taken advantage of, especially in a time like we're living in right now when so many of us are experiencing resource scarcity. I just feel like it's not a good time to be playing games. And if we're going to play games like this and kind of make it seem like it's one thing when it's really not, but you don't explicitly say that you're playing these games, I'm really quick to go ahead and move my money to somebody else. I'm willing to let you guys lose out on my direct shipping, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start buying it from Target or Sub K or K Town for You or anybody else because it just really feels very deceptive and it really feels like I'm being taken advantage of by the Weverse shop. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of people's unboxings of their Life Goes On vinyls, both the cassette and the vinyl, because I didn't order it this time. I thought very hard about ordering it. I almost did. But what kept me from ordering it was remembering the quality of the Dynamite vinyl. Like, even remembering it now, I shudder. And so I couldn't make myself order it. And we're coming close to the end of the year. November's almost over. Next month is going to be December. I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching me, that December 10th is the birthday for Tina Davidson. If you don't know who Tina Davidson is, she is the K-pop unboxing mama. Like, she's really been on the platform pretty much the longest of anybody who does unboxing. She unboxes so many groups, so many albums, and she has been a BTS fan since day one. In fact, I think she even volunteered backstage the first time BTS came to Europe, so she is like a deeply entrenched stan if you don't know her. But Tina Davidson's birthday is December the 10th, and for those of us who have been in the K-pop unboxing community for a while, we usually celebrate International Unboxing Day on December the 10th. So starting December the 10th, her time, and moving forward, everybody kind of unboxes something on their channel to celebrate her birthday and her contribution to K-pop, and also just to kind of celebrate the community in general for all the people that are still around, like Zaffer Seven Love, Wanhae. There's a lot of people who have come and have gone, and life does that to you. You get married, you have kids, maybe the music has changed and you're not really into the music anymore. There's a lot of things that can keep a person from remaining on K-pop unboxing YouTube. And so it's just a nice way to say thank you and to show the the community still exists, that there's still a community. I'm not as firmly entrenched in it as I used to be quite honest. Like there's a number of like much more higher profile unboxers, but I still appreciate that people take the time. I always appreciate the people who unbox merch, and I appreciate the people who unbox group orders, and I appreciate the people who try to get things as soon as they can, and I appreciate the people who just show what they've got just to show support for the artist and be like, hey, I don't have a lot of money and it took me a couple of years to get this, but I'm still supporting you because I still love you. Because the art of the physical CD is slowly dying. It doesn't make a lot of money for most people to print a physical. Like Big Hit's gonna make a ton of money on this just because this is $50. So they're gonna make more money on this than they will on a stream, absolutely. But for like independent artists and a lot of other smaller companies, there's just not a lot of money to be had doing K-pop physical packaging. So we got to celebrate our physical packages while we have them, because a day will come when we will not have them. So I hope that you will participate in International Unboxing Day in your small way, and just be sure to, give a shout out to Tina, because she really deserves it. She's been there for us for a really long time. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.